Oh, yay, yay, yay. Woohoo. Yes, welcome to me. And thank you, folks. That was very generous of you. And I thought you were all asleep last week. Ridiculous it was. It's called a bad connection, to be honest. But anyway, you're all with us today, and we got all of you nicely mic'd up to me company. Yes. Talking of keep me company, I haven't introduced myself. Right. Okay. My name is Mal. And first name and second name is Burns. That makes sense, doesn't it? But if you want to find me on Twitter, for which is coming up in a minute, you actually have to squash me like you squash everything else you want to type on the web. Twitter.com/Mal Burns, MALBURNS, all squashed up together like a sardine. Oh, really? Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. I don't like being compared to a sardine. Right. Not actually that keen on sardines to eat either, but that's another matter. And I'm joined in the studio here by the erstwhile companion call James at Loud because it's actually quite soft.
Isn't it ironic? But
I,
I am a fan of
I,
irony, so that's good.
yeah. Okay, James That Soft is here.
Yeah,
In the
yeah.
background, James fiddles with knobs, which allows him to put my avatar on screen and my desktop on screen and another position of my avatar on screen and all sorts of other things when we require them. So he's the audio-visual wizard behind this too, which is why he's a bit quieter than some of us. Cough, cough.
I'm supposed to stay in the
But
background. That's
yeah,
right.
but yes, he's there, and he's again looking very colourful. He's not exactly shouting and dancing, but he is actually sort of loud enough, I suppose, this week with that wonderful T-shirt.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Mel. It's this is a great T-shirt. This one was free, and it's from. Let me put up the name of the designer. This is AC Pixels store. I got this shirt free, and it's to
Uh,
celebrate Pride. Pride Month or
oh
Pride
yes,
Day, and it says it's very difficult to read, but it says love is love, and so that's a sentiment
oh
I can
yes,
agree with, and so
yeah.
I'm happy to wear the shirt.
Yeah, the sort of pixely sort of thing. Yeah, just hard. Now you've told me, I can read it quite easily.
Right,
So
right.
if I struggled, I'd have got to love and got stuck on the next line.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's so good. So that's
Yeah.
AEPIXL apostrophe S store
Yep.
here in Sansar, in fact. So
In
that's all
Sansar. Indeed.
jolly good and whatnot. Yes, indeed. So I might even pick up one of those myself. It's got the colourful thing.
The
But
color's
yeah, there is
great.
an
The
awful lot.
reflection.
There's
Yeah.
an awful lot. There's an awful lot of colourful stuff around at the moment. Not say here, but all over the place because of
Yeah, yeah.
the Pride Week or whatever it is seems to be synonymous with colour these days.
Yeah. Well, the
And
rainbow logo is part of the Pride movement.
yeah, it's quite odd. The opening of the G7 thing down in Cornwall this
Yeah,
week.
yeah, yeah.
There were protests galore, but no arrests and no violence. It was all very good nature. But all the protesters, especially the oh god, which is the main environmental one,
Greenpeace, are
they
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 there?
all wanted it to be. They wanted it to be a party, and so they're all dressed up in rainbow
Uh,
colours. Not uh, not all together, but some dancers were in red, others were in blue, others in green, others in yellow, and the whole thing had a carnival atmosphere.
hmm.
And you probably wouldn't even have known it was a protest except for the placards they were holding. But police were sort of mingling in with them, dancing along. So, I've got to say the actual room or suite where the actual G7 were meeting was sufficiently removed from the throng
Yeah, yeah.
for security to not really be too worried. It's actually it struck me as a rather ideal location. Apart from the heat and everything else, and
Yeah.
good week.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Geogra-
Beautiful location.
geographically and
Yeah.
geographically, the land rather kind of suited the you could see the bit where they were meeting, and then the bit that were the support rooms and stuff, then the
Right,
town
right.
itself, and then just over the hill was Falmouth, which is actually on the other coast. Because St Ives is getting to a bit of Cornwall where the north coast and the south coast are merging until it becomes a really thin strip at Land's End.
Mm,
So
mm-hmm.
lovely part of the place.
Nice.
The world there. Right. So yes, that's what they were doing. Right. Well, while I'm on the subject, I got a couple of pictures to show you before we start this week. Um, uh, sort of. Um, Women in Tech. This is a conference that happened during the week, and a lady called Gabby Slezak, who's been familiar from various other stuff. She's at Eva Ness. She was actually giving a talk on the future of work, how to get started. Now, I haven't managed to locate a video of that, so I hope they did film it. In the absence of that, I'll just tell you that it happened, and you might better look it up or follow her on Twitter or something and
Yeah.
find out
Yeah.
a bit more about that. Also, anecdotal photographs. This is quite a good. This is quite a good one. This is just a clip of a headline: a third eye device which could help phone addicts avoid walking disasters.
Hmm.
Now, I don't know whether that counts as part of interfacing technology for the metaverse or VR or anything else. I think that is mostly for people whose eyes are on their phone screens to make sure they don't walk into things. But it does occur to me that people who are in virtual worlds are probably even more transfixed to their screens. So maybe it has a double. Maybe it'd have a double thing. I haven't got the link for that. It was I just snapshot the headline from a sort of news roundup. It didn't actually have anything to get links in it, but I thought it was kind of interesting. What's that? Oh, that's a picture I didn't realise I had there. Right, okay. Now, for any fans of children's television in Britain, probably remember Wurzel Gummidge. Um, he's a bit of a scarecrow kind of figure. Hey, he's turned up rather unexpected this week because somebody snapped him, and Chris and Mr. Biden
Oh.
and Larry the cat. That's the number 10 cat. He went down there, hid in the back of the minister's limousine, and trotted down to Cornwall with him. And he took, as cats do, an interesting photograph. As you can see,
Ah.
Boris on
Okay.
the left, Boris on the left, and Biden on the right. And
Oh
it's
wow.
actually, I mean, I remember this when I was a kid. This is, it's over 60 years old. This thing's been going, I think. I can't remember it actually that well. I mean, it's obviously a kid's sort of comedy thing. But when you actually look at it, there is an uncanny resemblance. I mean, it's not great. But Boris and his hair, it's not too far fetched. And the one on the right is a sort of a refined looking American look of the oh god, what's the most famous president? Lincoln, isn't it, or something, with the top hat and
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So anyway, I just couldn't resist snapping that for you.
Lovely. Yeah.
And it also means I can now put the picture view away and reveal what's underneath. Yes, well. Okay, and this next link is actually on another feed, twitter.com/metaworld news, washed together, of course, after this show, no less. And I mentioned this last week, but there's a little bit more to it now. And this is the Australia's uh, a Splendour festival, which is 2 days with headliners like the Killers and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's what wasn't certain before is that it really is here in Sansar. Um, so there's actually a film, if I can find it. I don't know whether it's on. It might be here. We'll give you an idea. To look at the film, it looks far more expansive. And, well, basically, it's a large region in Sansar to get this effect, I think. So, As you can see, it really looks like a festival, doesn't it?
It sure does.
Preview of the Sims and areas here in Sansar that would be used. As you can see, on Sunday, the Killers headline. I actually have a concert of theirs on Blu-ray, which I picked up because I thought they were good. They are certainly not a small band. I mean, all the most of his names apparently are, worthy of note. Um, and these two, I believe, is an utter headliner. In the real world, uh, they've really pulled them together. It'd be interesting to see how they present the real world artists in Sansar. I mean, whether it's going to be more like the Lost Horizon thing, which was a sort of where they did a sort of Glastonbury last year. But this one certainly seems to sound like they've got a really big stage in the outdoors.
Mm.
So I imagine they'll be somehow getting a lot more people onto the region simultaneously without, but they can probably shard this if they need to, but we'll see anyway. But nice advert there, gives you a nice feeling for summer is here. And it's right for dancing in the interwebs.
Mm-hmm.
To paraphrase a song. Right, summer is here and the time is right for
Dancing in the
in the
streets.
interwebs.
Right, right.
Oh, close. It doesn't quite rhyme with
That's very
streets, does it?
close.
Never mind. Never
Right,
mind.
right.
Anyway,
I'll buy it.
that's a nice little one. Okay, so let's get rid of that and move to the one that is almost certainly always top of our list here at the beginning of the week. It's actually the Scar Ghost. I don't know. Have we got a nice effect on the Scar Ghost anymore? Oh yes, see,
Yeah, there's that
oh,
scary ghost.
distant haunting sound that we all
Yeah,
love.
yeah.
Well, as ever, he's been very busy. Um, this is dated June the 7th, which is literally Monday. And there will be another one with the same title tomorrow, which will be June 14th, of course. What we're podcasting here, I forgot to mention it, is the weekend headlines, week ending
Oh,
the 13th of June. That's where we're at, and we're live at the moment on the 13th. This was last Monday, and so it kind of features the same week that we included on our show last week. But it's a very good way to start the week. I'm not going to round this one up. I'm just going to plug it. Um, Sort of announcing the passing of Ebby Linden.
no.
Yeah, you can tell it's hot weather, can't you?
Oh my
Libby
goodness.
indeed.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Um, Facebook already opening on something like that. So I'll leave the bad news to last. There is a post here about. I mean, basically the almighty Facebook have just bought up a huge game making company this week, and they've already bought up about five. They just absorb things willy nilly, presumably to incorporate in designs for taking over the 3D electronic world. But anyway, I did see a nice line. I don't know why I've never thought of this before. Um, but apparently, anybody comes up against the almighty fastball and comes a cropper, you can actually turn around them and say, "Oh, bad luck, you've been zupped," which is basically fucked with a. Oh, I shouldn't say that with a Z. It's quite a nice play on words. So I'm remembering that one. I'm going to use it
All right.
as appropriately. So don't let the God Emperor zuck you. That's all I can say. Right. Okay, let's move on because you want to. Oh, well, I'll give you the address again. SKARREDGHOST.com. And that's where you go to check out the XR Week Peak. I'm very glad that Tony refers to it as the XR Week Peak, or it's like week in review or week roundup or whatever. Um, Rather than using the expression metaverse, he just sticks to XR,
Mm-hmm.
which is probably very sensible the way metaverse is being abused at the moment.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyway, let me put that one away. And now we're now well, we are full whack. All these links you will find at Malburn's, twitter.com /Malburns, Malburns, and including the videos that are coming up. I mentioned last week that I was joining them together to make it sort of easier for the show at least. And I'm pleased to say that seems to have worked this week. Everything in one place. Um, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, following the links at twitter.com/malbones means you will get to the actual page opposed to the website I read out. I can't actually see the actual page on screen, so I can't give you that, and it's usually too long to read anyway. Um, so that's one good reason for going to the Twitter account. And um, yeah, I had another good reason for you, and I've just forgotten what it was. So let me continue.
How about
This is
some of
digital.
the banned Twitter accounts? It's
Oh
safe.
no,
It's safe
no,
now because
yeah,
those accounts are banned. Yay!
yeah. Some of them have been banned, haven't they? Sorry, I just remember what I was going to say. The other advantage to going to my Twitter feed is that you get a roundup of everything I tweet in the week.
Right.
Whether you watch it, whether you look at it all in one fell swoop or just follow me day by day, there is actually a lot more links on that feed than I highlight here on the show. I've long since realised that loading 30 or 40 tweets a week, I don't get through them without wasting 3 hours of your wonderful viewers' time. Anyway, this one's digitaltrends.com, digitaltrends.com, or one word, of course. And yeah, we're back on an old theme, really, smell-o-vision. This one is a bit different from the like aromatherapy mixers that rest under your nose and are hooked onto your oculus or whatever. Um, this uses electricity rather than sort of printed. The best way to generate smells to date has been to treat it like printing, where instead of four inks that you mix together to get the color spectrum, you have four or five crucial scents that mixed together can replicate almost every or give the illusion of others. But this one's actually done with electricity. Um, a long-haired engineer who looks like they might moonlight as a roadie for a hair metal band. What's a hair metal band? Don't know. Right, sat blindfolded in the room with electrodes up his nose and let people over the internet crank up the smells. Um, it definitely looks horrifying, they told Digital Trends, likening the experimental setup in the Milgram experiment, a controversial series of 60s experiments conducted by a Yale psychologist in which people were tested on their willingness to dish out electric shocks to participants. Oh God! So that's like being sent to a mental hospital and be given electric shock treatment. Except then you find that the real people being studied, the people dishing out the electric shocks. Come on, this is weird. Anyway, possible use of electricity to generate sort of generate smells that could obviously then be used with VR. Um, Bit complex here. There's at the moment, that's how they fit in your nose, the electrodes and magnets that hold it into position, I think. And well, actually, really, no. Um, I know they're not as big as a headset, but please, I really don't think I want to wear that somehow. A gas leak. Oh God. Okay, so they've fooled somebody that they've left the gas running from their cooker and it's leaking. Anyway, if you want to read that, do go to digitaltrends.com. I'm not going to dwell on it. digitaltrends.com. And I'm actually going to move on. And we're coming to the first one, actually, that is of the videos, which is now integrated here. Basically, I have all these anecdotal videos, not Second Life ones or Machinima, which are elsewhere. Um, Twitter. I toot them basically at Mastodon. You can toot things basically, and it's an open network. And I'm so used to using Twitter. When I opened this a few years ago, I just thought, it could be an alternative. But of course, it's like Twitter is now so big that it's very, very difficult for anybody to actually get into their market, open source or not. But there are a lot of people on this actually because it's got a friends network attached to it, and it's all sort of open source and a lot of self-hosted service stuff. messaging. Anyway, not to talk about that too much. If you look it up, it's at Metaworld at Mastodon.social. Mastodon social is the network, and Metaworld is the name I use for the ether. Anyway, so this is the first one. This is the early of week edition of VR Download, and this, if I remember rightly, I think I listened to pretty much the whole of this episode. Did you, James, by chance?
I haven't listened to this one yet. I was watching
Right,
the the VR
right.
showcase. Yep.
Right. Oh, yes, that's just come out. Yeah, well, this is from earlier in the week. Um, yeah, I put it on, and I rarely get through the whole way through a thing. I either know they're going to talk about something and fast forward, or I sort of listen to the first bit, get tired, and sort of think, oh, I've had that for now. But this one, I actually seem to recall I actually
Hmm.
um, uh, uh, listened to quite a lot, especially when they started talking about the fastbooks, operating system plans,
Right.
and
Right.
the new Apple SharePlay and stuff. There's lots of interest there, anyway. So yeah, very good thing to watch. You can find this on my Twitter feed under. But the title just says you can clearly see it's the VR download is the name of it. I'm not going to open YouTube. We seem to do it every week, and I'm sure you know that their address by now is Upload VR, even though the show is called VR Download. Slightly converse sort of thing there, really, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, moving on to Metaverse Weekly. This is one of the many Forbes columns on the virtual world scene, XR scene, as it were, these days. And this is an early in the week column, and it comes from Kathy Hackey. And well, she does all sorts of stuff. She looks at stuff that, to a certain extent, is off my radar. She does cover the fact that there was an imminent purchase from Facebook, which has now gone through. Um, Coach partners, I don't really know. Oh, another bit of PR for the Splendour XR festival that will be here in Sansar in July. And oh, Grimes. Oh, I think that may be from that's obviously from another event. 19. Maybe they're. Don't know where they're. Oh yes, yes. Okay, they're appearing this year too. Okay, that's good. Like that. Um, Demonic, a horror film which includes volumetric video. So this is just sort of innovatory stuff rather than what we'd examples of entertainment really. And yeah, um, inevitably with all the fuss about non-fungible trash, MLB, Major League Baseball, apparently they're giving up on their trading cards and they're moving to NFTs instead.
Mm.
Um,
Okay.
I wonder if they can get anywhere with that. Who knows? Well, we did have Sotheby's, of course, down here. They've gone
Mm-hmm.
into Decentraland. Why they chose Decentraland, I don't know. But anyway, sort of. I suppose it's a bit like open sim, really. If you got a target demographic, and you build a region and stuff, and when it's ready, you just send out to all your customers or whatever they are the link and the instructions how to get there, and that it becomes your audience. You're unlikely to get casual visitors, um, in a world, where your region isn't well known in the vast hypergrid.
Yeah.
But if it says it's function, it does.
Mel, you've become
Anyway,
a
so
bit quieter. Did you move away from a
have I?
microphone, perhaps? Yeah.
No, no, it's hooked to my headset, so it
Okay.
should be exactly where.
Okay.
Did the sound from my computer come across okay when I did the Sansar clip?
No, no, not at all.
Okay, I can't understand this then because it should be coming into the same mic I'm talking to you on.
Yeah, well,
Very good.
microphones are
Superb.
designed to, headset microphones are designed to listen to a few inches in front of your face.
Yeah, but my screen is a few inches in front of my
Yep.
face, which it wasn't really.
Yep.
That is very strange. I can't um yeah, because the sound is coming out. So that's Bluetooth. Yeah. Okay. Well, I can't fuss about it now.
Right,
But
right.
internal speakers. Yeah. There's nothing else. Oh, what? Right. Can still hear me now,
No,
I
I was just
presume.
curious if you had turned your head or something because it was quiet, but it's
Okay. Now
it's
I've
deeper
just
than that, right?
I've just changed from the microphone by name to what's called default. So it's we'll see as it goes. Okay, okay. So yeah. Anyway, that is Kathy Hackey's column from yeah, I think it was Monday at Forbes.com. So Forbes.com. And now we're on a page that is not a regular one. This is iAdvances Noir. It doesn't make any sense to me, but anyway, I'll go, go leave my extra magnifier on this one if I can find the darn thing. Which I can't. Like being prepared. Okay. Let me give it a go. Sorry, IADVANCES. No, CES that was, sorry. Then ENIORCARE. So it's I Advance Senior Care. iAdvanceSeniorCare.com. But I Advance Senior Care is all squashed up. And senior is spelled the American way, so there's no U in it, just IOR at the end. Right, okay, so the future of evaluating brain health could lie in virtual reality. That was a good reason for being here. That's it. They reckon that virtual reality is going to be the big thing for evaluating senior brain health. That means, highly wise brain, superior senior brains. That's what needs to be evaluated. Before they pull apart, of course. Right, React Neuro is the one that's doing it. It's a virtual reality company that uses AI and digital exams to measure brain health. Needed technology for its exams, and the company turned to the Pico Neo 2i headset. And that features Toby's eye tracking with advanced capabilities, allowing React Neuro to analyze brain health. I'm not going to read the whole thing out, but if you want to find out exactly how they go about it and do it, then you need to follow that link. As I say, you can go to twitter.com/malburns and get the actual link because I advance senior care.com. It's not the easiest to remember, and of course, it doesn't actually take you to the actual page itself. And going on that, yeah, I've gone forward view there, which is mess with everything. Right. Okay, moving on. This post comes from arpost.co, ARPOST dot, and then CO, not no com, just CO. And yeah, 2021, the AR Association's Global Summit, talking about metaverse, of course they are, convergence and adoption. And this happened from June the 2nd to the 4th. This is kind of just a roundup of what was going on. But there are various videos and things published online. And I think more coming up actually, which are sort of revisiting the stuff that happened at the conference. It was not a cheap conference to attend, by the way. So the fact that we do get a bit of a roundup on the web is very useful. Involve XR, HoloMedX, Altered Ventures, See Around the Metaverse, etc., etc. So you can find that release at arpost.co, arpost.co. And I'm going to dispose of that one too and move on to highfidelity.com. This, of course, is no longer what you might call a fully fledged virtual world. This is Philip Rosedale's company, and they work pretty much exclusively on virtual audio these days. But the website here does publish 2 or 3 posts a week, which are almost educational posts in general, about best practices for holding events and best ways to use audio. They aren't actually limiting themselves to talking about their own audio platform. So they have quite a few interesting things to read here, and they're talking about spatial web and Gather Town, others there, and the best practices for holding conferences and stuff like that. So if you're thinking of holding a conference, might be a good uh, to go for some tips. And don't forget to do it really properly. You need to cast it too. So do get in touch. Sorry. Right. Conferences. We like them. We like your conferences usually. Get rid of that one. Okay, now talking of broadcasts, so to speak, there's two audio broadcasts this week from Voices of VR, Kent By, of course. Number 988, yes, we're slowly getting to the 1,000, aren't we? Defining biometric psychography to fill gaps in privacy laws to cover XR data, Britain had a human rights perspective. Only does he go into depth, but the depth of interest that he covers in his broadcast is astonishing. This is basically looking at the law for human rights and other aspects of law. The use of biometric psychography, as it's called, a new concept for a novel type of bodily centered information that can reveal intimate details about users' likes, dislikes, preferences, and interests. Immersive technology has to capture the data to function, meaning that while biometric psychography may be relevant beyond immersive tech, it will become increasingly inescapable as the immersive tech spreads. Important because current thinking around biometrics is focused primarily on identity, but this is actually the practice of using biometric data to instead identify also a person's interests. There you go. Britton Helen, the interviewee here, is a human rights lawyer, and there's a link to the paper she recently, anyway, which I think we featured time. And obviously, it's an audio podcast, but you've got a bit of a roundup in text there too. So to find out, you want to go to voicesofvr.com, voicesofvr.com, all one word there. It's the only dot is before the com. Squashed like everything else in the interwebs, basically. So dispose of that one. And another one, my Mastodon posts, which again is now via Twitter, for video. This is a featured panel with somebody called Judith Okonkwo. And fascinating, actually, quite a few retweets on this too. It was part of the 7th International Conference of the Immersive Learning Research Network. And it's basically pioneering with XR in Africa. It's basically a whole thing on how XR is used to pioneer various things in Africa. Yeah. So you'll find that on YouTube, and it's actually they don't have their own channel for Africa there. It's the panel was part of the 7th International Conference of Immersive Learning Research. Immersive Learning Research Network is the channels we covered in previous weeks. Right, that's right. Squealing ladies outside my window. I was just standing up in this heat. Anyway, VR is the future of education. This is supposed to be VRFocus. I got quite a surprise. A woman I work with quite a lot on OpenSim until not so long ago, who sort of just retired from it all, was Thursday Ember. I haven't heard for ages until I suddenly found that she was, retweeting this post or
Yeah,
something
wow.
from my account, which is odd. So I still know she's still following things.
Hmm.
Right. Anyway, so VR is the future of education, VRFocus, and again, a roundup thing. And it really is. You've got education for kids, you've got further education, and you've got lifelong learning for adults. And it crosses into all those things. And, education is not just educational institutions before you become an adult or young adult. It's a lifelong thing, and virtual reality is very much part of it. It enables you to do so much more by the way of exploratory curriculums, I should say, rather than sort of lecturers or teachers standing up and telling you stuff and very interesting. You try and remember it. When you can look up this stuff yourself and see it in exciting 3D, and you get better understanding of things for one thing, and of course you have a ready-made distance learning situation where you in many of the worlds you can actually collaborate with your not only teachers and pupils but between pupils. So quite a few things here. They've also got a thing about excitement with technology, and they've actually got Sir David Attenborough here endorsing um, uh, its use in. That's actually only a picture, not a video. Um, and interestingly, this very morning he was lecturing the G7 people in Cornwall on what they need to do to climate change. Well, um, polite people would call it a lecture. I would say he was kicking asses.
Uh,
No holds barred from the extracts I heard. I think he might have persuaded them to cough up even more money than they did yesterday. So good for him. Okay, but anyway, this is the future. VR is the future of education. And the site you want to read this at is vrfocus.com. So that's vrfocus.com. I just have a bit of cold coffee here. Ah, wait for this in the heat. Coffee and the heat don't sound like they should go together, but they're working. So there you go. Right, let's put that one away. vrfocus.com. Right, moving on. We're back on arpost.co again. So that's arpost.co. And this is actually just a review, a hands-on review of Fibella, which in the I think I've attended two, maybe three events there in the last few weeks. Well, a lot of conferences were on, including one which I really wish had been recorded that didn't get recorded because it's a brilliant one. Anyway, um, this is an in-app interview with co-founder Alex Howland. So what they've done here basically is they're doing a double whammy really. They're looking at the Verbella platform and reviewing it from the point of view of arpost.co, but they've also included in that a conversation with the CEO of the platform itself. So it's quite a long major article. If you don't know anything about Verbella, for example, it's one that's well worth looking. Oh, there's a picture. This was here we go. A glimpse into the future of work. Um, Fortunately, I actually attended that one, and it was excellent. But I'm still waiting. I thought they were meant to be filming it, but I have yet to find it anywhere. But anyway, load to read there. So for that, it's arpost.co, arpost.co. And item move down to the Museum of Other Realities. Post at roadtovr.com here. Right, this is quite interesting. It's kind of art in 3D is basically the thing. Um, and the Museum of Other Realities is kind of a destination online. But there's actually quite a special offer going on at the moment. Yeah, you normally pay something like $20 US. But if you get there before June the 21st, which you've got now, if you go via Viveport, which I think is for the Vive headset, or to Steam, you can actually get the actual main app, as it were, free to keep forever. But the offer ends on June 21st, and you have to go to either Steam or Viveport Library to get that offer. It's specific to those form. All three paid exhibition spaces at the moment feature a combined total of more than 55 virtual reality experiences, including a number of 2021 premieres and hand-picked selections of works from some of the most acclaimed video creators and studios in the world. And by the way, it says if you publish entry tickets individually here, they would cost you £15. So you can imagine getting it for free is a bit of a bargain. But actually, even $20 would be a bargain. I'll just give you a little idea of what's here. It's only a minute and a half. I don't.
Museum of Other Realities is a space to connect,
I
share,
presume you
and
still can't
experience a
hear
growing
this.
This one's.
collection
I
of
can hear this one.
mind-bending virtual art.
Oh, okay.
Step into a painting. Surround yourself with fantastic sounds and experience art in a new way as you interact, watch it evolve, and take form. Explore the new collection at exhibition parties. Enjoy the experience with friends from around the world and make new ones in a gallery you can visit from anywhere. Join the community of explorers and artists who are creating a new kind of immersive art showcase in the Museum of Other Realities.
Like far out, man. Gosh, golly. Wow. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Imagine the Beatles doing Yellow Submarine,
Oh,
but
that'd be wonderful.
50 years.
Yeah.
Imagine the 50 years in the future and they had the techniques we have now. That was certainly a very colourful thing, and nothing to do with pride, I hasten to add, but I mean, colourful in
Really nice. Yeah.
very nostalgic way, I think. Although I suppose people don't remember that 60s style of animation. They probably think it's all kind of new, but they're lovely, lovely
Well,
stuff anyway.
my children do.
So, yeah. What? Remember?
No, they don't remember, but they love it. They
They
very
love it. Yeah,
interested in it. Yeah.
yeah. It's fascinating. We're
Hmm.
quite a legacy
Yep.
generation left. Right. Okay. So roadtovr.com is the site you want for that. We can replay the video, of course, and read all about it. So roadtovr.com. VR is obviously all squashed together, as is the way with the interwebs. Okay. So remove that one for now. And another one from via Twitter at my Mastodon account. This is a Deep Down Divers VR show, number 15. I can give you a quick glance at this, I think.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Deep Town Divers VR show. Yes, it's a long time, but we're back with another episode. Today, I'm super excited to have Ole as my guest. She's a special beast. We'll talk about that later. So, in meanwhile, take your seats, get yourself comfortable, and let's dive into it.
Okay, well, you gather from that at the beginning there that this is the first show that's been around for quite a while, actually, but they are back, as they say. I've always enjoyed this show. In fact, I think it's in the same place as Endgame that they record it, and one of the guys from Endgame was actually on the panel of mine, not last year, but the year before at the OSCC. Um, anyway, a good little watch. I'll tell you, this is 53 minutes. I'll tell you what I'm going to do here. I am going to quickly go through to YouTube on this one just to make sure we've got the.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Deep Town Divers.
Here we are. So Deep Down Divers VR15, and the site you want to subscribe to or look up is Deep Town. Sorry, did I say Deep Down? I mean
Mm.
Deep Town. Sorry, Deep Town Divers VR. So it's DEEPTOUN space IVERS space and then VR. VR being in capitals. Probably doesn't matter. Okay. So that's how you get to that one. Right. Um, okay. Well, oh, sorry, that's at YouTube. Just get back quickly. Okay, and well, this one you'll find the link on my Twitter account. Um, on the web, it just shows this Mastodon social, so you have to look up my feed at Metaworld there to find it. But yeah, just clicking through from Twitter is the easiest thing. Or for this particular one, just go to the account of that video provider we just looked at. Right, okay, removing that one and moving on. Now we're back at voicesvr.com. Now, I don't know what happened to 989. A couple of days before this one, we had number 988. So go figure. Maybe there's one got lost somewhere. But this is Voices of VR again. VOICESOFVR.com. And this is a sneak peek at the Tribeca Immersive Festival with somebody called Loren Hammonds. Um, the lineup was announced April 29th, 11 virtual arcade experiences. Right, and many started on June the 9th within Museum of the Realities, which we mentioned a short while ago. Be free if you to go via Steam. Um, Okay, Storyscape experiences only at the venue, 13 outdoor screenings. Well, basically, there's a whole load of stuff going on. It's all over now, as far as I know. Um, that that basically looks that's a bit weird. It's a bit late to be having a sneak peek. Anyway, I can't say much about that. I haven't played anything, but just go to voicesofvr.com to check out a bit more on that if you're interested in Tribeca Immersive Festival. Right, move on. Okay, back to a Mastodon post here. Right, all these are links to YouTube or Vimeo as a rule. Right, this is an interesting session. This is VR and Philosophy, number 5. Virtual architect Samuel Arsenault Brassard thinks. Let's just have a quick look.
This event here, which is near Hammonds.
Oh, right, I remember this one. Right, the account you want here is Alt VR. This is the Alt VR is one of the virtual worlds, and this is their account. And this philosophy talk was held within it. It lasts for 2 hours. The comments are saying here, this is awesome, epic conversation. Well, it would be at 2 hours, wouldn't it? But also, you can probably tell one of the participants sounds normal, the other one sounds like he's in an echo chamber.
2020. So, can you hear me, by the way?
Yeah, 2 seconds. Someone is trying to invite me. I just.
Okay, sorry.
All right.
So what I was saying is,
see, this is what happens when you don't have the expertise that we have to make sure you hear us properly. I don't know whether they fixed that later on. I think maybe they tried to.
oh my gosh.
No, they got yeah. So it's an epic conversation, highly praised, but not only you got to sit there for 2.5 hours, but you've also got to sit there and listen to the echo chamber as part of it. So who knows, really. Anyway, as I said, you find that at my Metaworld's account at Mastodon Social, or just go to BR's account actually at YouTube. And moving on. Next up, we're at theverge.com, TheVerge.com. And this one's an interesting one. 20 years or so, Second Life, and needless to say, OpenSim, and a whole load of these worlds have been on dodgy ground when it comes to copyright and things. You know, people miming to performances of real bands and using copyright material in machinima or on their land. You know, people who just broadcast radio stations on their land are in, it's like playing a radio, and that is sort of fine because the radio takes care of all that. There's a lot of stuff going on, and you can argue that, it's been okay till now because it's all sort of under the radar. Or, it's not worth bothering with. But as we know, Roblox like Epic Games, this thing and everything else. They all want to build the metaverse. Yeah, and they've had masses of venture capital poured into them recently, and they are very high profile games. We'll say, but although they are crossing into the idea of virtual worlds, in that there's more there than games, and robots particularly is very much focused on kids. It's a big business, right? So the National Music Publishers Association in America has decided to sue Roblox for letting users upload music, and this is just for music from Ariana Grande, Imagine Dragons, Deadmau 5, and some other artists without paying a licensing fee. Um, they're trying to get 200 million US dollars in damages and a court order that will make Roblox eliminate the privacy. So this is getting big. And I think I thought it was worth putting this up here and having a quick comment because it may mean that lesser known platforms, maybe Sansar, Second Life, OpenSim, Sciencebase even, that really haven't hit the big time radar, should we say, right? Might actually want to take note because if something like this succeeds and sets a precedent, and you know what lawyers and companies are like, they're hungry for the money. If they think they can sue a small operator and get multi-billion-pound settlements that bankrupt them for life, they probably won't be afraid to do it because all these people want is the money. They'll still be chasing the money even if an economy collapses and the notes aren't worth anything anymore. They'll still be chasing it. But anyway, yes, a word of warning there, really. And let's see what happens there. It's sort of a bit like open house there. I wouldn't want, I wouldn't necessarily wish Roblox luck there. But on the other hand, I don't know whether the Music Publishers Association is in any better light here. So we'll see what happens, really. Um, Roblox offers a library of audio files, models, and everything else. And also, the library at Roblox appears to be contravening not just the people uploading material, but the actual library of Roblox itself. The problem has the same problem. Um, oh yes, and they've got that's interesting. One of the complaints notes that if you search Roblox's library for Ed Sheeran or Ariana Grande, you get no results. If you search for partial terms like Sheeran or Ariana, it does pull up tracks labeled with popular songs from both artists. So it's sort of the devious ways of getting at the stuff are really cited there. Anyway, more about that at theverge.com, THEVERGE.com. And we'll probably hear more about that as things turn out. Back to Museum of Other Realities here, the XR3 exhibition. Right. Okay. This is the same one. You can get the app via Steam for free before what's it, 20th of June, I said. Um, anyway, they launched its XR3 exhibition this week. It's a joint project between Cannes Festival XR and New Images Festival and the Tribeca Film Festival. It features fantastic immersive content, but presents it in a way that feels fresh, appropriate, and the right direction for VR film festivals. So, it's very much a review of the festival itself, and yeah, what can I say? They review it, and this is where you go to read the review. Um, each each of the mini festivals has its own wing in the museum, etc., etc. Um, There you are. Tentative pricing. Festival passes available for purchase for £15 each on Steam. But as I said, if you do go via Steam or that other site, I forget their name, you can. Oh, yep, they mention it here. You can get it for free until July 20th. Okay, that means you've got quite a while. Um, New images in Tribeca are open until June the 20th. Oh, that's where I got June 20th for them. After which XL3 will shut down briefly and reopen on July the 6th, where it has access to the CAN XR portion of the exhibit, and that goes on to July 17th. So actually, it sounds like if you go to Steam and download the free version, you better get to all four of those actual major events through the museum. Good little article. This highly illustrated, as you can see. Weird kind of pose is that? Anyway, yes. So that's all there. Go to uploadvr.com for this. The same site, of course, that does VR download each week or twice a week. uploadvr.com. Right, moving on. This new organisation of mine is getting quite good. Right, this one I presume is more focused for American viewers or whatever. This is a fireside chat with I don't know whether that's Republican or Representative Susan Bell Bean, the American chair of the Congressional Caucus on VR, AR, and MR. Right, so that's the connection with us, so to speak. And this was a fireside chat with her, talking about. Imagine what she's talking about. And it was, again, part of the International Conference of Immersive Learning Research that is more or less just over now. Just to make sure we don't go wrong, I'm going to go back to YouTube just to make sure you've got the right. Here we are.
Washington, 1st District, co-chair of.
There we are. Right, so the account you want for these films is Immersive Learning Research Network. So Immersive Space Learning Space Research Network. And they've been publishing quite a lot, of course, because that conference was on for about 2 weeks and is more or less just rounding up now. That probably means there's more to come because there's a delay between the live event and when they get round to uploading the films. So Immersive Learning Research Network. If it's just that one you want, you can click through my Twitter account, of course. All right. Moving on again. We're back at VRFocus for yet another post. Oh, they've been busy this week, haven't they? VRFocus.com. Virtual planet. How far away is the Oasis? This, of course, is futurism or futurology, really. I don't know which. I call myself both. Right. Again, congratulations to VRFocus. They've used the expression virtual planet, which is another way of getting out of saying metaverse, isn't it? Everybody, you can tell which are the good sites because they're going out of their way to avoid mentioning or misinterpreting the metaverse. So look out, instead of looking for metaverse, do a search for XR or virtual planet or virtual worlds. It's all down to what you look for. Everybody loves the idea of a virtual world, someplace that can break away from reality and do brackets almost whatever they want, free of the confines of annoying details like physics or, indeed, being nice. Huh. Well, yeah, but unless you're nice, I'm not going anywhere near you. So there you go. That's why video games have become so incredibly popular. You get the virtual world of somewhere like Fallout and the true vision of oh dear, they've used the word, a very different ends to the digital spectrum because the word creators are imagining aren't concerned with fairy tale lands with quests to go on. These are fully functioning ecosystems with economies, entertainment, and logistics like the real world, just without physical restrictions. Sound daunting? Well, it is. So hold on tight. Da, 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 da. Right. I'm working on an idea of bringing some odd bits of music into this program while I'm not going. Not today, though. Right. So it introduces worlds and worlds within worlds. Cites Ready Player One, of course, and the Matrix movie as well. Interestingly, it doesn't go back to Snow Crash, but everybody does their own sort of historical take on this. Emphasis on the social, of course, looking at it there. Talking about Unity, which of course is not a world as such, it's the authoring platform that many people use. And and then keeping entertained here. A bit of a plug here for Splendour XR and Lost Horizons here in Sansar. Yeah, getting plugs all over the place for this. And Carl Cox. Well, he was at Lost Horizon. It looks like he's going to be at Splendour too. One of my favourite DJs, actually. Ambient stuff. Right. Culture Vulture. They got, I must say, choosing rather colourful pictures. I'll give them that. Look at it all. It's going on. VRFocus will be continuing to dive deep into the XR metaverse, looking at those universes that are forging ahead, the creators behind them, as well as what the near and far-flung future holds. Hopefully, to prepare yourself, you join us on this tech-filled ride. So, whether that's a way of saying that VRFocus will be publishing a lot more in-depth stuff. I don't know. But anyway, vrfocus.com is where you want to go for now. And put that one aside. And here we come to the big hitters, really. This week in XR, this is the text version of Charlie Fink's weekly roundup. You'll find this at Forbes, forbes.com, forbes.com. And this was what, yesterday, I guess. Look at the Tribeca Film Festival again. 6 raises, of course they do, stuff about eyeglasses, a bit about a bit from Apple recall. Apple's, so talking about Apple, Sony showcasing VR titles for PlayStation. This could be fun. The richest man in the world is going to outer space in his own rocket. What could go wrong? I've asked the question, but I'm going to make no judgment call on the answers. I wish some people would probably think, well, what can go wrong indeed? What can we think of? Others will be wishing it doesn't, of course. Okay, and looking at the other platform motion with his AI assisted trainer. And pointing the view that they've got just advertising their podcast too. With the column. Actually, for his weekly column, that's not the longest. It's quite short this week. Must have been busy. And actually, I know he's busy. You know why? Because his Week in XR video, he's not on it.
Oh.
He must have been busy this week. So you'll see this in a minute anyway. Right, so you can find that column, of course, at Forbes.com, Forbes.com. And with that one. Okay, back to a Mastodon site. This is All Night. There have been two from All this week. This is the state of the global XR market. I am going to click through to this just to double check that we've got the exact name. This is discussion on the state of the global XR. The account you want is AWE in capitals, or, which is the name of the conferences, really, and space Mented Space World Space Expo, or obviously stands for Mented World Expo. By subscribing to these sites, if you don't do so already, if you go to you can probably get it by looking up or, and it will find that for you anyway. But once you've got it, maybe subscribe. I don't know. They have quite a fair lot.
And they also to my friends in Korea who are watching, super excited to today. So I have been working in.
Okay, I think it's just those 5.
Isn't that easy? So can you imagine?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's those 5. Just those 5. It's 53 minutes long anyway. It's obviously an elaborate Zoom call that they've recorded there. But basically, if you're interested in the XR marketing, this sort of discussion is probably your thing. It's geared to the, it's pitched towards enterprise, I think you'll find. So if you're just somebody who happily logs in live open sim for your own amusement and are keen to catch up on relative things, but not everything, then this may not be for you. But it's an interesting chat. So Augmented World Expo at YouTube, and obviously if you're going from my Twitter feed, you're just clicking through, and you'll get that page at Mastodon. Now just jump down a couple here because there's another one just before that, which is also the same account again, or Augmented World, whatever. This is another one. It's on the same account because all their chapters around the world use the same account. But this was a meeting of their chapter in Norway, called Norway in Neon. And yeah, it's in English, so don't worry. No Scandinavian language problems here.
A surprise to me as well. Go ahead.
Okay, this follows one of their regular formats for all nights. Basically, they've got a host. One of the participants there is the kind of host, and then the other people come onto the Zoom call and they kind of screen share their particular worlds or their particular projects. It's quite a nice format, because it's basically a whole load of people, a different showcase. And as I say, all these people are up in Norway, basically. So get rid of that one, get rid of the other one too. Okay, this is a site called xrtoday.com, xrtoday.com, and the Metaverse Workplace. Get ready for virtual work. The Metaverse is trending, yes. I know. Do you know what it is, by the way? Sure. What does it mean for the workplace? Or actually, what it should say is, what does it mean? Metaverse, what does it mean? They probably haven't got a clue. But they're going to have a go, aren't they? Metaverse is essentially a term used to describe the future of what our digital lives might look like. Alongside the real world, we should have a metaverse world, a shared virtual space that combines our physical reality with virtual content using augmented mixed virtual reality. Okay, now I've got it pretty much right. It doesn't exist yet, but it certainly won't belong to any given person. They'll have to invent their own meta galaxies or whatever the um, appropriate name would be, according to, say, somebody like Will Burns. Virtual worlds, and the cluster of virtual worlds is a meta world, sorry, and then cluster of meta worlds is a meta galaxy. Cluster the galaxy. The most of this, which doesn't exist yet. But you get the idea. I think the outer space metaphor works really well in terms of understanding it, the different levels of umbrellas within. Right, they talk about Vibella there as well, the future of work in the metaverse panel. That's again the one that, hang on, maybe they found it. Oh yeah, there it is. Oh no, that's not a video. That's just, yeah, okay. I I want the video. I want the video there. Okay, so anyway, this is an independent one now, dated June the 2nd, the analysis here. It's xrtoday.com, so it's xrtoday.com. Right, remove that one. We're getting near the end here. Okay, two more videos first. This is Between Realities. You can find it on YouTube as Between Realities. This one again was a couple of days ago, and let's see.
The hype around the Santa Cruz at the time. Like, the Quest was not out, and everyone's talking about the Santa Cruz. They're like, oh my god, man, when we get this.
Gonna click through. I'm sure it's Between Realities, but I'd like to know a little bit. Yeah, there we are. Between Realities is the account. The reason I'm clicking on this is I can't remember who Ricardo Logano's work is. An amazing storyteller has the power to captivate audiences from campfire stories all the way to virtuality. It's Ricardo Logano's work. He's the guest there in the latter that have earned him the 2020 Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Innovation in Interactive and Best VR Experience at the 76th Venice Film Festival for an exhibit called The Line, which is an interactive story about love and routine. Here you go. So I cheated. I went ahead to Between Reality just so that I could read that out for you. But anyway, of course, the show itself simply has him talking and joining them in the conversation. Anyway, so to speak. Now, I did mention this a second ago. This week in XR, this is the YouTube variant from Charlie Fink and Ted Shilowitz, and their guest host is Jason McDowell. Except, ain't no Charlie. If you look at YouTube, it's this week in XR. I forget what's happened here.
Focus on XR community and the XR dynamics. So he and I are going to take over. Charlie and I do our podcast on the news that Charlie puts up on his column, and we'll discuss all that. And then Jason is also going to be our guest today and talk about the company he works for called Splendour, which I am an advisor to. So we are
right. Well, leave that to you lot. Yeah, it's a great chat anyway. Despite the fact Charlie isn't there. In fact, actually, it's quite a refreshing break having that guy Ted. Sort of, same show but different host for a week, or one different host. So quite interesting. So it's something I quite liked. I might try and reintroduce it with this show at some point. Is where you've got you haven't got a guest to interview, so to speak, but you have a guest on, like the guest commentator for the week, who will chat about the news items with you as you go, or about their own choices. So yeah, it's a good format. I like that. Right. As I said, get it from my Twitter feed. Finally, another trip to VRFocus.com. And I've left this to last. It is genuinely is the last link of the week here, the last thing on the show. Because it's disturbing, you know. I don't know what the terms of the takeover are, or whether the big box VR will end up getting, sucked. But it's best known for Battle Royals title Population One. It basically makes huge games. Oops. And the old God Emperors grabbed them. No object. I'm having you. Don't fight it. Don't fight it. It will all be okay. I'm nice, really. But you haven't got any choice. I've got more money than you can held those against, etc., etc. Yeah, so it's big news here. It's big on the feeds, mostly about games and stuff like that. It does look nice, doesn't it? Population One. These are, remember, games rather than virtual worlds per se. In other words, they don't have user created content, and there's a limit to what you can do socially in them, other than joint gameplay. But basically, Facebook Studio have been acquiring stuff willy nilly. They got Beat Games who do Beat Saber. They got Sansar Games who do Asgard's Wealth. At Dawn who do Lone Echo. Downpour Interactive who do one called Onworld. They're just grabbing everything in sight, and basically they want. I think you can assume they want the technology. That's more interesting there, anyway. So, I consider they just want the technology for their imperial pursuits. Presumably, they will keep the game their subsidiaries going, and maybe use them for those to show how good their stuff, headsets and stuff are. I don't know. Anyway, any regular reader here knows my feelings about the God Emperor's company, and he's constantly zucking people over, basically. Yeah, that's what I say. So that's it. That's it. I shall refer back now to James. See what he thinks of all this stuff this week.
Oh my. Okay. Um, one thing I made a note about is the controversy about music in virtual worlds, and you know, copyright is such an antiquated system, and I think to me, it really comes down to the artists and their managers. And I know what the artist managers will do. They're going to stay with copyright. But, if an artist really wants their music to be shareable by their users, they'll go Creative Commons instead of copyright law. And, what's going to change society? Is it the users? No, it would be the artists. So that to me is where that
And
sits.
that applies probably with not just musical artists, but also other artists.
Right.
At the moment, it seems every amateur artist is doing a scribble on a piece of paper and then converting it to a non-fungible piece of trash, selling it for a lot of money.
Yeah.
This can't last, I'm sure. Yeah, I noticed. I pay money to Spotify. £10 a month or something to get. I don't go to my own library of CDs or tapes or anything anymore. But I will quite often come across an album. Where I plan to play it, and then I'll notice that sort of 3 tracks are grayed out. So the idea here is presumably those 3 tracks are being withheld from streaming in the hope that people will still go and buy the physical album to get them. Having an all access pass for the money you pay doesn't include getting stuff they don't want you to get, kind of thing. But yeah, I used to work with visual artists in fantasy art and comic books as well. And, there's always been this thing of, the agent, production company, whatever, controlling copyright and rights and money. But it's the other thing where, artists will have ideas and they want to do something and they wouldn't necessarily be concerned about the money. They made a distinction between the jobbing work and the creative work, as it were, where they wanted to be known for the creative work and get it out there rather than get royalties for it. The same with artists. I think. I'm very free and easy about grabbing stuff which is probably protected by copyright. I shouldn't say that, but especially as in my past, when with visual artists, I used to sit down and negotiate contracts which were all about the copyright, or or more personally, the world of rights. The different assignment. But it is a different era we're in now. Everything is available fast. It's available on the web, despite different major corporations do their best to control territories, but they don't really succeed that well. They succeed well enough to control the general populace. I think just take it as what they're told for granted. But how pardon me. A band will go on tour and perform live, and they'll get ticket money from the door. And some bands actually like doing that because they don't make much money from it, but they enjoy the experience, and it promotes, say, recorded albums by them. Some bands will go to benefit concerts and literally pay for free, although free, I hasten to add, usually includes quite a lot of expenses. Yeah, I don't know. Looking at this final link we had on screen, about the God Emperor's pursuit of everything he can grab. Just imagine all these things that they're grabbing up. Imagine Spotify and SoundCloud and all these others all get taken over by, an aspiring emperor. And then, keeps them going for a while with royalties or whatever, but then slowly sort of changes the rule book. And being so big as a parent company, this rule book changes. They might be argued over, but they won't be contested. It's the mouse versus the elephant. The mouse may well want to stop the elephant treading on it, but all it can actually do is get out of the way quick and hope it don't get trodden on. So I don't really know here. Pardon me, I'm croaking. I was croaking earlier too. It is a different time. I wonder, if I was young today and doing the same sort of things maybe I was doing in my 20s, 30s, um, with all the stuff we had today, I'd do Yellow Submarine differently, except I didn't do it in the first place, but you get the idea. I just wonder how it would be, because at that age I was certainly be more concerned, about living, so would I be I would presumably be in pursuit of what I guess I would call a living wage, whether that means I'm after a lot of money because that's fashionable, or whether I'm quite happy to have just enough to subsidize me, as it were. I don't know, but one way or another, I would have to be tackling this new age and sort of considering to what extent there's an income from what's online. And also, maybe if everything is free online, is there any other source of income that the presence online can generate? Um, if I give away an album and then go into virtual reality and hold a live concert performing that album and charge, maybe you can only get 50 people into the venue, so you charge several £100 per ticket, so you make money out of that small a lot of a small number of people in a live concert. Maybe you could do it on several, could do it as a kind of residency. So it would be you've already got them in by giving away the music for free, and the fans like it, so they want to come and see you live, which is always, I mean, it's not live in the flesh, although there are ways it could be with video projection. I don't know. I mean, it seems to me that there are a myriad of possibilities available these days, but where the living wage, the living money comes from, alone the actual rich money, which some people still want. I don't know. It's I'm fairly carefree about it all now. I've got no vested interest in making any money online or offline, as it were. I got too old for all that stuff.
Yep.
unless it walks into my lap,
Right.
But it is something one needs to consider.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean,
Copyright's going to do what copyright does, and so just stop using it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the Sonosis lawyers, there's going to be lawsuits, and like I mentioned earlier, they're going after the big guys. If you Second Life never had any real problems with. I mean, I think the Star Trek people, or was it Star Wars people, at one point, but then it was a matter of negotiating with whoever created the thing in Second Life, because Lyndon's, of course, can always say, "Well, it's not ours. We didn't do it. We can take it down for you."
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to sue anybody, you've got to sue the user who built it. Um, it's a minefield. It is a minefield. But yeah, but when the big ones get involved, it gets very different. I'm actually surprised. I mean, Spotify is still under a bit of threat, but it seems to have overcome the thing. A lot of artists complain that they don't get enough royalties from Spotify. On the other hand, some others don't say it doesn't really matter because they get massive exposure and people can access their music so easily. Of course, Apple Music will say, "Oh yeah, but we do that too." So, they're all copying each other.
Yep.
So whether there's any winner or losers in the services is another thing entirely. But I don't think there's going to be any major landscape change. There'll just be Apple Music, Amazon Music, and Spotify. but yeah, you've got. I mean, SoundCloud, for example, is very much used by artists directly.
Mm-hmm.
They tend to put up mixes and different variations and things like that.
Yep.
With a bit of work, you can download them for free. I don't think you have to be a member, or maybe be a member, but you don't pay anything. But that's clear. SoundCloud to me seems a bit more like a social network, where instead of somebody writing a text in their timeline on a social network, they actually put some music there, and somebody else replies with another bit of music. So these musicians are almost talking to themselves and the public with music instead of text or voice, as in narrative voice. That's I quite like that because I get notifications saying, "Oh, so and so's just posted a track," and it bet a SoundCloud, and a bit like an ambient mix. It might last an hour or something, and it's just one variation on a version of the sort of stuff they do. There'll be other versions around elsewhere, and for people that are purists and collectors, they're having a whale of a time because they have to go to all these places to get every different version of what the musician has done. This is a bit of fun, a bit of excitement in that, and it does mean they're talking to their fans very often, rather than, all you can do on Facebook and Twitter is actually say, "Hello, fans, I'm still here, bye," or check out my new video on YouTube, and just anecdotal stuff, when and if, there is something to say. So on some of these smaller services, they can just gossip all day and nobody really cares. They just like being in touch with their musician or whatever. So it is different strokes for different folks there.
Yeah.
But again,
Well,
but the royalty.
We are having changes in economics and economic models.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Well, as long as the God Emperor doesn't get all our royalties for everything we've ever done in our life. Well, he would very much like to, I'm sure, but we don't want that. Okay, I will go down the rabbit hole again and again and again. I think we did quite well this week. I don't know how long we've been on air,
Let's
but I
see.
think the show's
1 hour, 27 minutes.
Right, so we have got it down to the 90 minutes, effectively. And I'll make sure we are 3 minutes now. So it is with some regret, sleepiness and heat, exhaustion and everything else, but we must depart. So it is goodbye from him. That one over there to the left.
It's goodbye from him over there on the right.
It's goodbye from both of us. We together say goodbye because AR, got it all because we are. Yeah, indeed. So until next week, we will wish you an on. Have a good week. Be safe. Stay indoors if you can. And enjoy weather if you've got it. You can always open the windows even if you can't go out in it. Or maybe you just like taking risks. I don't know. But we will see you same time, same place next week. And at the news desk in Sansar, that is otherwise known as Metaworld News. So, bye for now. Yee-haw! We're out! And it's cut your teeth. Cut that. Whoop.
Okay, we're out. We were muted before, but yeah. Well, I hope that was okay to have the audience there at the end. Yep. And it's nice. It gives me a little extra time to do the zoom out and then transition to the out